And you know what? The one, like, there are fans, right? So let's say, like, the Beehive, they don't play about Beyonce.
Ooh, or Nicki Minaj's Barbies.
The Barbies, they don't play about her. The WizKid fans, they don't play about that man.
Listen,
they
shout
are
out
serious.
WizkidFC, and I ain't gonna play. WizkidFC is one of the most loyal fan bases in the world.
As musicians' lives are and their careers are based on the love and support we show them as fans.
As a woman, wifey material situation, cooking skills are essential.
Okay.
Incredibly essential.
Okay. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. As a husband, as husband material, cooking is essential. This is 2021. This is not the 1950s, like I said.
You're listening to Audiomack Live, the Afrobeats Podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of Audiomack Live, the official Afrobeats podcast with myself, Audiomack Olajide, aka Shopsidi, aka the Energy God, where I break down the hot topics in the studio with a celebrity, the celebrity guest to come help me run through some of the headlines that have happened in the last 1 week. As always, you can follow us across all social media. And more importantly, thank you for the support across all social media. That's all your likes and comments and all the shares. Subscribe to the YouTube channel for more information, and as always, feel free to share with friends and family too, especially if you're having a good time with it. Now, as always, I'm going to run through the headlines, but before I do that, you can also catch us on Yanga TV every Saturday from 7:30 p.m. and on Monday repeat at 7 p.m. and that's on Sky 186 and I think FreeSat 171. So make sure you check that out as well. Shout out to our Yanga viewers too. Now, before I go into the headlines, I'd like to introduce my celebrity guest in the building from the Dreams and Money podcast. It is Norma. Welcome back again.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, I knew once I invited you, you were going to coordinate somehow. And guess what? You came in with the orange.
I had to come through. I had to match your swag, match your vibe.
Come on, man. The energy is always on point. So thank you very much for coming through. I can't wait for us to get into the headlines this week. Before we go into the headlines, I'd like to talk to you about a partnership of ours. That's shoobs.com, which is the leading discovery hub for Black culture experiences, bringing you the latest events, music, and news. Now with Shoobs, you can discover and buy tickets to the best events happening in your city to satisfy your every need. If you're on a hunt for bottomless brunches, the latest Afrobeats concerts, or just a banging night out, Shoobs has got you covered. Shoobs is at the center of all experiences. Whether you're an event organizer looking to sell out your event or looking for the perfect event to attend, we'll all be doing that in a couple of weeks. Visit shoobs.com and get Shoobs in now. Now, some of the headlines we'll be talking about will be number one, Twitter users calling rapper Sarkodie from Ghana a copycat. Lethal Bizzle talking about women and cooking. That'll be interesting to hear what Norma has to say about that. Snoop Dogg seen playing Wizkid and Thames in the background and, of course, giving his own opinion on the record too. And lots more. So let's get into it. We're going to start in the UK, where superstar British Ghanaian, I like the fact that I added that Ghanaian in there, I'm not going to let him get away with the British alone. British Ghanaian rapper and entrepreneur Lethal Bizzle made a video on Snapchat that went viral. In the video, the rapper said, and I quote, "I see you girls get all lit, getting ready for summer in the gym, BBLs and that, lashes and that. But if you can't cook, whoa. Let's take a listen."
Big man thing, yeah. I see you girls getting all lit, getting ready for summer in the gym, BBLs and that, lashes and that, new weeds and that. But hey, if you can't cook, whoa.
Norma, we heard what our brother Lethal Bizzle has said. If you can't cook, whoa. I'm going to start with you. what are your thoughts about Little Bizzle's
You
comments?
already know I've got several opinions.
Okay, let me hear.
Before I start, I have a question.
Yes.
Shopsy, what year are we in?
We're 2021.
Is this the 1950s?
Oh, here we go. No, it's not.
Is this the 1950s?
No, it's not.
Uncle Bizzle, right? Let's just, first of all, cooking and eating is not a gender-specific thing. Let's just get that correct. Cooking is not a gender-specific thing, okay? It's not like we're building a car. It's not like you're, going out to earn the bacon, whatever.
Even if you're building a car, it's still not a gender-specific.
It's not a gender-specific thing. So let's just leave this gender stereotype that is old, archaic, and irrelevant in today's society into continuing this idea of women belong in the kitchen. Come on.
No.
It's old, it's tired, it's a new day.
No, it's not talking about women belonging in the kitchen. He's basically
But
saying...
you're reinforcing that idea, because if he wasn't reinforcing that idea, he would have said men and women. I see you guys, you're in the gym. He would have addressed both men and the women. He wouldn't have just addressed the women. Am I wrong?
Okay. I'm listening to you. I'm hearing what you're saying.
It's just that whole idea of like, women, you should be cooking, you should be working on your wifey material skills, blah, blah, blah. Come on. It's old, it's tired. So, let's get with the times, okay? Yes, I can look cute. Yeah. Yes, I can get my BBL, go to the gym, look cute for the summer, and still live my best life.
Absolutely.
That's number one. Number two, sweetie, I've spent the last year at home, locked up. My priority for the summer is not to be in the kitchen cleaning. I'm finna be living my best life out at the day parties, out, not cooking, in the restaurants, eating, being catered to.
Okay.
As I deserve.
Listen, you deserve to be catered to. You deserve to live your best life, enjoy yourself in the gym, partying over summer. But it goes back to, let's just say the foundations of what he was trying to say. And the foundations of what I felt he was trying to say is, as a woman, wifey material situation, cooking skills are essential.
Okay.
Incredibly essential.
Okay. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. As a husband, as husband material, cooking is essential. This is 2021. This is not the 1950s, like I said. Therefore, if I, as a woman, as a female, am required to cook and to clean and to showcase all of these wifey material qualities of mine. So what's the man supposed to do? You as a man also need to be doing the same, because nowadays the new day woman is not just in the kitchen. She's also at work.
Yes.
Therefore, if I'm supposed to be in the kitchen as well as at work, as well as taking care of you, taking care of the kids, you need to be able to do the exact same things that I'm doing.
Wow.
Therefore, you need to be bringing in the bacon like I can.
Facts.
You need to be providing for the kids.
Facts.
You need to be taking care of me.
Yep.
You need to be cooking for me in the same way that I do for you. Therefore, I'm just going to say to the girls, right, we need to step our game. We need to be telling these men, babe, if you can't cook, you can't put a ring on it, okay? Because what these men would do is make you feel like your worthiness as a woman is based on your ability to take care of them, your ability to cook, your ability to take care of the children. But it's like, no, as women, we're more than that. So let's stop with this idea of perpetuating this old gender stereotype of women being in the kitchen and cooking for these men. Let's stop that. It's a new day.
I completely agree that women are beyond that. I completely agree that it is a new day where, people should bring equal skills to the table and see how you can make it work. Yeah. However, again, because of the fact that most women bear children, most women are nurturers.
Yes.
One of the first skills forget about me. I always use myself as an example, like with my wife or, whatever. I'm saying, listen, it's not about what I want to eat. I'm not one of those guys that sits at the table and says, oh, this is what I want to eat. No.
Where's the jollof rice today?
No, I'm not one of those. Yeah. I call myself a survival specialist. And what that means is, as long as there's noodles, bread, and rice in the house, I'm going to stay alive for as long as possible. Yeah. And I can make that work.
Okay.
And you can make that work too. That's cool. I'm not demanding anything.
Okay.
However, if we're going to set up a family, if we're going to raise kids, if we're going to, bring kids into this world, I also just want to know that, when my kids are with you at home, they're well fed.
Of course.
They're well taken care. I'll give you an example. So when my daughter was like 6 or 7 years old, I'll take her to school and then I'll pick her back up before her mom gets home. And one of these days, she usually has her food ready, so I just put it in the microwave and stuff. One of these days, the food wasn't there. So I had to make something. And then I asked my daughter and I said, what would you like to eat? Obviously, like I said to you, survival specialist, rice, bread, and noodles. I'm good with that. So my daughter was like, I said, listen, forget that one. I'm cooking you noodles. don't
so
be,
she was bringing the a la carte menu.
Listen, that is not here for that one. So I made the noodles, and whilst I was making it, she sat on the kitchen cabinet.
Yeah.
And she was watching me. And there was a time she said, oh, Daddy, not too much water. I said, will you keep quiet? If you don't eat it, you starve till your mother comes. And she kept quiet. She ate the food, and that was it. When her mom came, she was being, but kids can be smart. She was being polite. So her mom was like, oh, hello, baby. Have you had something to eat? She said, yes. She says, what did you eat? She just looked at me quietly, and she looked at her mom and said, Daddy's soggy noodles.
She said, I'm going to snitch. I'm
like,
singing.
Listen, I said,
I'm telling all of the business. But no, I agree with you. And
it's an important skill, even though his delivery might, be the way he did with a little bit of comedy to it. Yeah. I still think it's a very important message that he's trying to pass across. And there are days when I'm seeing my kids eat completely different things at the same time of the day because their mom has that skill to explore. But if we have to also just we have to tell our boys, you got to be able to cook and take care of yourself.
And that's my point.
And we also have to tell our daughters that you got to be able to cook.
But you see, so that's my point. That's
so
my
it's
point.
Still
It's the balance for me. It's just the balance. And like your story is hilarious, but it just reminds me of I was watching this reality TV show, and this man's wife had gone away for a few days on a business trip. Or I don't think she was gone for a few days, maybe just for the day, and he was left in charge. This man tried to give his son a peanut butter sandwich. However, his son is allergic to peanuts.
God, this guy
so
is
my
point, kill the kid.
Imagine. So my point is,
had no idea.
In the same way that we demand that women be able to cook, to take care of the kids, we also need men to help us as well, right? We just need that balance.
Yeah.
So again, it's not necessarily that I completely disagree with that. Women should cook, blah blah blah. Like everybody should be able to cook. Is my point.
Can you
Everyone
cook?
should be able to cook.
Can you cook?
Absolutely, I can throw it down. However, I don't like to cook. I'll just be honest. I don't like cooking. I like to be catered to.
Listen, let me tell you something. Every time you come on this show, a lot of guys hit me up. They're like, what's her number? They want to meet her. All of that stuff. Every time they always hit me up. But obviously, if I can't vouch for you, I ain't passing her number. You're going to have to meet her yourself. Because if anything goes wrong, I don't want that situation because I'm going to have to invite her back to my show.
Okay,
but
how about this?
Now that you're now saying that you don't like cooking.
Yeah.
It's not a really good advertisement, you know what I mean?
And that's absolutely okay with me. Good advertisement or not, the one that's going to come to me is going to know, do you know what? My babes likes to be pampered. So I got her, okay? Breakfast in bed, I got her. Cheeky lunch out, babe, I got you. Yeah? Oh. Babe, you want to go out to dinner with the girls? Here's a cheeky £50 to £100. Go treat yourself, dinner with the girls.
Come on.
Boom. It be like that.
Oh, listen. Well, Lethal Bizzle, that's your message from Norma. Anyway, we go over to Nigeria, where one half of the iconic group P Square and Peter, a.k.a. Mr. P, caught up with myself on Instagram Live to talk about his brand new album titled Prodigal. The singer spoke candidly about about creating the fantastic album and the pressures he faced from doubting fans about the quality of his music and his talent. He also talked about how he met his wife, who initially was an agent who he met as a new artist in Lagos, trying to find his way in the game long before the money and the fame. We talked about that. He also spoke about the constraints he had in the group with his brother in P Square and how free and happy he is right now. It has to be said that the album is absolutely brilliant, and the general reviews has been favorable with huge numbers so far. So a brief rundown of the P Square story is the iconic Afrobeats duo who dominated Afrobeats for well over a decade, touring across Africa from South Africa to Sierra Leone to Nigeria, stadiums, across Africa, and really doing major things. All of a sudden, at the pinnacle of their career as a dynamic duo, the relationship fell apart. It became public that both brothers, who are a set of twins, had decided not to continue the working relationship. Specifically, Peter had decided to walk away from that group, claiming, irrectifiable differences or whatever. And he had said in the past that one of the reasons why he wanted to make that decision was that his own identity within the music that they were making wasn't really shining through. And there was almost like an image that was being put across that he was just a dancer and really wasn't part of the music creating process. And he felt that was bad for him. Plus, most of the music that was put out as P Square and promoted as a group were music that, had come from his brother, Paul.
Right.
So that went, and then obviously in the media as well, they talked about, his wife being, there were allegations that she was part of the reasons why the brothers split, and that, the other parts of the family didn't really like her, and all of that stuff. And there's been back and forth in the media continuously for the last couple of years. However, over the last 1 year, Paul has really been successful in his solo career, and so has Peter been successful in his solo career. This album, Prodigal, is the first body of work that Peter will be putting out as a solo artist. And like I said, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Did you get to watch the Instagram live interview I did with him? What were your thoughts about what clips you saw so far?
So not the full thing, but something that just stuck out to me is the fact that he said he is free and he is happy. Main important thing out of the entire debacle that's happening. I think with groups, a lot of the times for some reason we expect them to be together forever, whether it's Destiny's Child or Little Mix or is One Direction or whatever group it is. We expect them to move as one forever because we love them as a group, we love their music. However, I think we have to remember that people are on their own individual journeys. Yes, they were twins. Yes, they came up together. However, people have their differences. And unfortunately, we can't have the same vision. And because we are two different people, right? Okay, so they're twins, yes, they may have had some of a similar vision. However, what God has put on my heart to do and what God puts in your heart to do may be a little bit different. The talents we have within each other may be different. Yes, we're twins. Maybe one of them was a better producer. One of them is a better writer, or whatever talents he's got. They are just
bring
two
it
different
together.
Right, they can bring it together and it can work for a certain number of time. However, after a certain period of time, it's like, okay, at this point, maybe our vision is no longer aligning as it should. And we're on two different paths as individuals, as artists as well. So obviously, at some point, it's no surprise that a lot of these groups pull apart. So it doesn't really surprise me. It's just more so I think the sad thing is the family no longer talking. It's one thing to separate as artists, but it's another thing to separate as brothers and his family.
I think that's the most difficult thing, especially even for us P Square fans. The fact that we know that it was such a fantastic family unit where the twins were the performers, their brother was the third, almost like the third member of the group, but he was like their manager, their older brother. He directed most of the videos, and there was this perception and narrative that was put in the press that this group was so tight-knit. They made incredible money together, and everything was in the family. So when the family broke and media outlets got all sorts of clips and information that personal differences had come into it, especially that of Peter's wife, who the perception in the media was like, oh, all of a sudden, this almost like this gold digger woman shows up and has split the family apart. Yeah. However, based on his story, it now shows that she was actually there before the fame and money.
Was there?
He said that when he traveled to Lagos, she was working at an agency, and because of the fact that their demo CD had been stuck in a CD player for a couple of months where she couldn't get it out and she hadn't fixed it, every time she played music in the car, she was only playing P-Square music. So whenever her agency was booking talents to perform, she always just put P-Square on the bill and be like, yo, I love their songs, get them paid.
Come through.
And every time they did, they'll go back to her and say, thank you, we really appreciate it, They split with the former manager, and then they didn't have her contact. So Peter had to go on the road looking at signs somewhere that he had been before, and finally located her office to rekindle the business relationship that, that manager that brought us here, he's no longer working with us, but we still like the opportunities that you provide us. Fast forward to now, that's the mother of his children and his proud wife. So that shows that she's been there.
She was there for the right reasons.
And it explains why he stood by her, even despite the public perception and the image has been put out in the press.
Yeah. And I think, for me anyway, I always look at it like, I as a third party cannot come and split unless you allow me to. I cannot come and put a wedge between two brothers unless you allow me to, unless there was already cracks there. Or maybe she came in and kind of showed what was already going on underneath. And kind of expose the cracks that was going on. Obviously, I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just kind of giving an example. But you cannot come and divide what's not already divided. I don't think anyone has that much power. I mean, unless she was like this conniving, evil human being. But I don't think that's the case because clearly he married her.
Yes.
But I do think there was probably something that was already going on there. Yeah. And she just kind of happened to come into a situation that was already divided.
She basically would have to stand by her man. And in a situation like this,
I'm going to stand by my boo.
Exactly.
And I'm going to go where you go.
So that's the thing. Sometimes when in a relationship where, the family is pulling one way and your man is pulling another way, sometimes even if you don't totally agree with his positioning or disagree with the family, you still have to stand by the man that's brought you in here.
Absolutely.
So most times, ultimately, the women always take the bad end of the stick because she has to stand by her man.
Why is that? Yeah. Why is it that we always find ourselves blaming the woman for coming in between or putting the blame on her as if men don't have a mind of their own or as if they don't have the agency?
Because of the same thing with Meghan Markle. I think people put the perception out because of the fact that, we expect pillow talk. We expect that regardless of what's happening in the day, both man and woman will lay down at night, and whilst they're in the corners of their room, they will speak about the problems that have arisen. Yeah. And we hope that the woman somehow takes her side and completely throws her husband's side away.
Yeah.
So that's really what every time women find themselves in that situation, usually is that, unrealistic perception where we feel somehow she's going to agree with us
and
disagree with her man. It
doesn't make sense because at the end of the day, I'm marrying him. I'm not marrying you, mother-in-law. I'm not marrying you, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. It's not you that I have to go home with and deal with the drama when we're now in our own home. This is the man that I've decided to be with. Therefore, I'm going to have to stand by what he decides and support him, right? We said for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, all of that. So I'm going to have to put that into practice in the same way that I did when I was doing my vows. I'm going to put that into practice and stand by him.
Absolutely. Now, another thing he said that I really wanted to touch on was the fact that he also spoke candidly about the role that fans have played in the separation of the brothers. He said the fans were hugely responsible in them really going their separate ways as they continued to pushed the narrative that one was a dancer, one was a singer. One didn't add anything to the group, whilst one continuously was doing well. Every time there was a comparison leveled at both brothers, and that ultimately started to eat in slowly but surely, and eventually got in.
It would affect you. Like, I mean, as a man, as a human being, you have an ego, and you know the talents that you have. You know the talents that you've put into this group, Absolutely. And you know the effort you've put in. So to feel like you're being disrespected for people to be calling you the backup dancer of the group, when you know you've been putting in work, you've been putting in vocals in the studio, you've been putting in the hours when
plays all instruments.
You know, you're doing all of this for the group, and you are the reason the group is in the position they're in, along with your brother. Because
you brought that 50% or the 30%
so
or whatever
for now,
it is.
For people to be calling you a dancer, you'll feel disrespected and not appreciated. And I think because as musicians' lives are and their careers are based on the love and support we show them as fans. So if the people that are supposed to be supporting me and pretty much carry my career, if they don't see the value in my talent, then what do I have?
That's deep.
What do I have? Because it's different to any other job where you can move from one job to the next and whatever, but the perception, if you're not happy here, you can go there. It's very different as an artist. It's very, very different because at the end of the day, your livelihood and your career is based on the perception from the public and from the fans.
Wow. And then he now used that to make an example with what the fans are currently doing to Burna, Davido, and Wizkid, Tiwa Savage, and Yemi Alade. The continuous comparison, forgetting the individual contributions that each artist has brought to the game. Wizkid is, was the reason why the new generation, young Afrobeats fans came into the game. He changed the game for the younger generation. Davido brought the competitive edge and, that brotherliness and that excitement into the culture. Burna Boy has taken it to the next level and winning a Grammy. Yemi Alade and Tiwa Savage, everybody has an individual contribution to the success of this whole genre. Culture. And he was saying that we need to educate our fans and let them know, because I'm a fan too, that yes, it's okay to have our favorites, but it is not okay to compare them consistently with the other person and try to bring the other artist down just because we love our own. And those messages on social media, on YouTube, in the press, ultimately find its way to the artists and start to affect the way they do business with their colleagues and the way they react in the public.
It's so true. It's so true. I think we do have to take responsibility as fans. I mean, we do the little bit of drama and the comparisons on Twitter and the jokes and the laughs. However, you're absolutely right. At some point, it does start to get to you. Because can you imagine if your whole career, your manager is constantly comparing you to the girl that sits next to you? At some point, it's just going to get to you. It's going to start to affect your confidence, potentially your performance, because you're always thinking of that person. For instance, let me just use an example. Let's say if Davido is always thinking in the back of his head, creating with Wizkid in mind, it doesn't make sense. Next thing you know, you're starting to copy that person because you're trying to be like identity. Them. Yeah, so it's we have to take responsibility and maybe just ease off.
Absolutely.
Ease off.
I think easing off is the way to put it. Now, over to Ghana, where Twitter users and trolls attack superstar rapper Sarkodie for what they claim to be copycatism, if there is such a word, I might add. Well, the rapper Sarkodie put out images promoting his soon-to-be-released album titled No Pressure, and fans have picked out one of the images claiming he copied Wizkid's now famous images where he points at his gold teeth, or shall I say grills, that looks there. Now, Wizkid had similar poses in his just released video Essence featuring Thames, so Twitter users instantly put both images next to each other, pointing out the similarities and calling Sarkodie a copycat. Your thoughts on that? Ridiculous, right?
Isn't it ironic how we were just talking about comparison?
Absolutely.
And now we're back into that catalogue of
And the fans
comparing, fans creating drama out of absolutely nothing. If you know anything about the music industry, hip hop, and just like male artists, the one thing that you will know is that all of them will get grills, and the first thing they're going to do is show it off. Now, when you sent me that brief, the first thing I did, I was like, oh, come on, really? This cannot be a conversation.
I swear.
The first thing I did, I literally went onto Google, typed in hip-hop artist grills.
Every one of them had the same pose.
From A$AP Rocky to anybody, to everybody, you will see them with that exact same pose, the exact same pose.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it's only Wizkid that has grills and is the only one that can now do that pose. Like, let's just get it together, please. There's more important things to be arguing about besides a pose. A pose. It's not even like we're talking about he copied his song, he copied like a lyric or a flow,
and it made the blogs. It was trending. People started putting pictures up. People were, they were calling. And when I checked the news, and I'm like, is this really what's happening? Like, instantly when I saw the images, I had images of Burna, Davido, with the same pose, Tiwa Savage, with the same pose, pointing at their grills. It reflects action.
I'm sure you can even find a picture of Kim Kardashian with that pose because she's got grills as well. So it's so ridiculous. Like, come on.
But it shows now how low fans will go in trying to pit their favorites against other artists and create something that's not there and make that. And artists, if you know anything about creatives, are some of the most sensitive human beings around.
Yes.
Something this small that you and I are just giggling about and thinking, man, this is, if I was working in the soccer team, the minute this came out, I'd just fling it off the table and be like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Something like that, so trivial, could set off an artist and
create drama for the next decade.
Drama.
And you know what? The one, like, there are fans, right? So let's say like the Beehive, they don't play about Beyonce.
Ooh, or Nicki Minaj's Barbies.
The Barbies, they don't play about her. The WizKid fans, they don't play about that man.
Listen,
they
shout out WizkidFC, and I ain't gonna play. WizkidFC is one of the most loyal fan bases in the world. When you're talking the Beehive, the Barbs, you have to put the WizkidFC in there. They are relentless. They back WizKid to the hill.
To the core. They will come for you. Try to tweet anything. Even if it's just a critique about WizKid, they will come for your neck. Don't even dare if you like your piece.
You don't even have to tweet anything. You say anything in any form about WizKid, they'll find it out. If it's supporting him, they'll find it out. Mm-hmm. If it's attacking him, they're coming for you as well. Yes. So anything they see that might be a little... So when I saw this, I instantly thought, man, the WizkidFC, they came out in full.
Because if anything, why didn't they compare that pose to all the other hip-hop artists that have done the exact same pose, but they chose WizKid to compare to? Because obviously, okay, fine, like, he's also an Afrobeats artist, but it's like, you could have picked anybody else, but you're now, again, choosing to pit two great artists against each other for no absolute reason. And like you said, we don't always know the repercussions.
Yep.
It could potentially then turn into another thing, and then there's now...
The artists don't want to see each other. They don't want to stand close to each other.
They don't want to work with each other. They don't want to collaborate. And it's just like a whole thing, which is just unnecessary, all because of a picture.
And there's something you said that's very vital. Sarkodie is one of the most iconic rappers from Africa. He's been in the hip-hop culture from the get-go.
Yeah.
Sarkodie is a rapper, a hip-hop head. So grills, chains, that's his shindig.
It's part of his
culture. That's his culture. Yeah. Like, regardless of whether it's, Afrobeats. No. Sarkodie, he's not looking at the Afrobeats artist. He's looking at Jay-Z.
Exactly.
Sarkodie is looking
he probably wasn't even thinking of WizKid. No shade, WizKid. We love you, but he wasn't thinking about him
because
at
he's
all,
a hip-hop head.
Yeah.
And, when you speak about Sarkodie, yes, he's had some big Afrobeat smashes, but when you ask him what kind of music he does, he'll look you dead in the eyes and say hip-hop. I'm a rapper.
Yeah.
That's what he is. So people need to understand before they start to say things, you have to look a little deeper, just like you said. Put into Google, find out a little bit more about this artist, especially those of you that don't know who he is. And then you might understand why certain things are the way they are. He is a hip-hop artist, he's a rapper that can make Afrobeats music, but his number one culture is hip-hop and rap, and he is influenced by the grills, the Timberlands, the chains. That's his swag.
Yeah,
so ultimately, you will see it when he's promoting the new project. No Pressure's about to drop. He's dropped a record already that looks no fugazi, absolutely crazy, produced by Rex from Nigeria. Even though it's an Afrobeats record, my brother's still rapping on it.
Giving us the vibes that we like.
Absolutely. Now, speaking about rappers, over to the USA, where rapper Lil Nas X responds to trolls after they attacked him for allegedly leaving his mother to suffer after videos went viral showing the lady asking for financial support on the streets. Well, Lil Nas X responds to the claim saying, "Don't know how many nights I've cried myself to sleep, feeling guilty because nothing I tried will help my mom. Paint me as the bad guy all you want, but at the end of the day, you don't know me outside of this internet-ish." He had said previously that his mother suffered from addiction and didn't want to talk about that relationship. His father, who is a popular gospel musician, Robert Stafford, came to his defense on social media, saying how much Lil Nas X had been there for the family by saying, despite what people say, he is the greatest kid a parent can be blessed with. Stafford wrote, although his mom is in a struggle with an addiction, she's still a queen in capital. And he goes through great lengths to make sure we're all taken care of. Stafford ended the post by asking people to keep Lil Nas X's mother in their prayers. And he warned, those out there trying to create a false story about his family won't prosper. Now, over the last couple of weeks, obviously Lil Nas X caught a lot of steam for the video he shot for his latest song that saw him twerking for the devil before killing the devil in hell, and then releasing a sneaker line that had elements of real blood in it called the Devil Shoes. Instantly, the backlash on social media was absolutely crazy, although the record made crazy amounts of numbers online. I think went to the top of the Billboard charts or something like that. So he's been very successful. However, people within pop culture and the black community in America and around the world, and particularly Christians, have had a lot to say about it. Yeah. That people have leveled to claims against him that he sold his soul to become successful. He's doing all of these stuff just to be to make money and be accepted in the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. And then the video of his mother sadly went viral, of her asking for funds on the streets. First of all, what are your thoughts about this story and a rapper at the top of his game or a musician at the top of his game, although very young, 22, having
really
to
young.
deal with this type of situation with a family member dealing with addiction in public?
It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. And wasn't it just last week you were on the podcast talking about DMX and his suffering with addiction?
Yeah.
It's just, I think we don't truly understand how difficult it is to deal with somebody that has addiction. I think people underestimate how much it can have a hold on somebody physically and mentally. You're literally fighting yourself. You're fighting your mental and you're fighting your own body, trying to fight for this drug and wanting this drug, feeling for this drug. And, the fact that his dad even came out to support him and say, look, guys, like, he has tried. He really has tried. He's putting his money behind his mom and doing what he needs to do to support her. So, I believe he's tried his best. And if he's saying, I've cried myself to sleep, man, that's hard.
Yeah.
Because which child, you know, would make all of this money, because we all dream of making it big and taking care of mommy. You just want to make her proud. You want to make sure that she's good, she's taken care of. So I truly believe that he's probably tried his best, but obviously she has to fight her own demons, unfortunately. And you know, like you were saying last week, I think DMX had been to rehab several times and tried multiple different things and all of these things.
And Kevin Lau said at the end of that interview, which was one of the most touching things I heard, and probably one of the scariest things I heard as well, which was, you cannot help someone who's not ready to help themselves. Ultimately, regardless of what everybody else can do around them, majority of the fight still lies at the table of the person that's fighting and struggling with addiction. I remember Mario, the Mario of Let Me Love You. Back then, he had a documentary on MTV where I think the title of the documentary was I'm Not Gonna Love You to Death, which was his mother, who had struggled with addiction at the time. He had a whole documentary documenting the difficult relationship he had with her and how they went with interventions after interventions, taking her to rehab, coming out looking clean and healthy. And sadly, a couple of years ago, she finally gave up. She passed on due to the addiction that she'd been fighting for over a decade, ever since she was a young kid.
It's so difficult. It's so difficult. Even Demi Lovato, I think she's got a special right now on YouTube where she documents her struggle with addiction. And she had a overdose that almost literally killed her in the exact same way that DMX unfortunately passed away, where it was laced with something. I think it's fentanyl or something like that. And she was literally on her deathbed. Like, she documents how if her assistant hadn't found her, within 4 to 5 minutes, she definitely would have passed. And this is someone that's been to rehab several times. Maybe this is her third time, I'm sure. You know, I think it's a struggle that we will never understand until you're in it, until you're fighting with it, until you're the one dealing with it. You don't know how much of a stronghold this thing has on somebody. And there's only so much you can do. You know, I'm sure like Lil Nas has tried all he can do, thrown all the money that he can into the situation. But unfortunately, sometimes money is not the solution. Unfortunately, money is not the solution. You just have to pray and hope that this time it works. This time the rehab works, the praying works, a miracle happens.
Absolutely, man. And I think the more discussions we're having in the open space about drug addiction and how detrimental it is, not only to the person addicted, but to the family and the loved ones of what it does mentally to that family is also a very, very difficult thing. So the more open discussions we have will probably lead us to people seeking more help and other people, fighting the addiction and getting the help that they need. Very sensitive topic there. Now, staying in the USA, where this weekend, rap legend Snoop Dogg's video DJing went viral in the Afrobeats community because he was playing Wizkid's Essence featuring singer Thames. Not only was the world excited that Snoop Dogg, who also doubles as a DJ once in a while, was playing WizKid's record, what made the video special to me was that there was someone in the background who made reference to the record, which Snoop Dogg responded, "It's slamming like a MF." Well, Snoop isn't new to Afrobeats. He famously collaborated with the band on the Endowed, I'm So Endowed remix, and he appeared in the video at the time, which was probably about a decade ago now, when such collaborations were absolutely rare. Him playing the WizKid record for the world during his Instagram live party is just another little step for Afrobeats and Afropop, showing our records getting on the playlist of popular DJs and personalities. I was one of those stoked fans. I posted the video. I went on Twitter. I was jumping and screaming. Was I wrong to celebrate such a very little win?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm here for it. But I'm also not surprised by it. I think Snoop Dogg is one of those artists that he comes across as someone that loves music from all over. He embraces the different cultures and just from the different sounds that he's given us across time with his music. You can kind of sense that he dibbles and dabbles and he's able to be inspired by different artists, which I absolutely love, and that he has an appreciation for other music outside of American music.
He did a reggae album. He done a gospel album. So he's definitely one of those.
So I would love to see him maybe collaborate with WizKid or maybe collaborate with Burna.
Some of the younger.
But I feel like him and WizKid on a song that's kind of on the vibe of WizKid's last album, where there's like elements of like reggae into it. It's a slow
R&B
kind of vibe. It's a good kind of vibe. I feel like it would be a lit record. I feel like it could definitely be
Absolutely. I think, like I said, this is not Snoop Dogg's first affiliation with Afrobeats. The collaboration with the band Endowed Remix at that time was groundbreaking. It was internet shattering. It was website bringing down stuff. I remember where I was when the video dropped. I went online, and so were hundreds of thousands of fans on the Mo Hits Records website, and the website completely crashed for the entire 24 hours.
Wow.
We were just so excited to see an icon like Snoop Dogg at a time when he had just Pop It Like It's Hot, Pop It Like It's... And the next thing we saw was him next to Don Jazzy and the band in a music video, shot the video in LA. And that was just... Moments like that would be those pivotal moments for me when Afrobeats took huge, giant steps forward. You know, the band inviting Kanye West to come to the HMV Apollo, like... Nobody expected that. I was in the crowd just watching the band and just enjoying the Mo Hits record, and the band just playing his harmonica. So he sat on the stage and he was playing all of the lights. So he played like the first 10 seconds like pam, 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 pam. And we were like, yeah, that was the peak of all of your lights. And when the beat went, lights, and Kanye West just walked out on stage.
I can imagine.
I blew my mind.
Must have been
I
lit.
lost my mind. I
Must have been
fell
lit.
down. I got up. I couldn't get Kanye. Then Kanye West. Then when we all lost our minds and everybody calmed down, Kanye West brought out a chain and chained the band on stage. Oh!
Wow.
I walked out of that venue like, yo, we're going to Hollywood today.
Energy. But I mean, we're here now. I feel like we're here now. They are catching on to the vibe that we've got going on. They are catching on to this strong force of like good energy, good vibe, authentic sound that we have that is truly African and truly captivating and just comes from the soul, you know. So from Davido collaborating with Nicki Minaj,
huge,
you know, to
WizKid and
Lil Baby,
WizKid and Drake. Last week I just posted the video that confirmed that Come Closer was platinum in the UK, platinum in Canada, gold in the United States of America, and gold in Australia. That is a huge achievement by an Afrobeats artist. We've had Davido, 2 gold plaques, 1 platinum or 2 platinum packs. You know, we're consistently now doing it on the world stage as we dreamt of those years ago. And those little strides of collaboration with Snoop and Kanye West by the band, and, you know, the likes of Two-Face, African Queen on, you know, on a African American movie playlist. Those were the little things that added up to here. And to see Snoop cap it at the weekend with playing the Essence record and just vibing to it. And he said, he slams like an MF.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
but, you know, I just, maybe I'm reaching, so tell me, but I feel like I'm just careful that we don't make it feel as if, like, we need their stamp of approval, because we're already out here doing our thing. So yeah, it's great that they jump on the wave that we've got, but it shouldn't be like that's the pinnacle, or it's like that's their stamp of approval is what was needed.
I don't think...
I think it adds a different flavor. It definitely, of course, brings in their market. It brings in their audience to listen to what we've got going on. But I think the world is catching on already without having the Americans or the global stars kind of put their stamp of approval on what we've got.
To be honest with you, it's not even about the stamp of approval. You have to understand that for a long time, a lot of us music fans who had listened to hip hop and R&B and pop that had been sold heavily by the British and the American governments around the world, used as a tool to market their countries. We had absorbed subconsciously and consciously that genre, these artists were on top of their game.
Yeah.
Not only did we absorb that, they also financially benefited from that and the publicity they gained around the world.
Yes.
So for the first time now that some of the artists that we have celebrated in our corners are now getting the opportunity to receive the spotlights and receiving the Grammys and doing the YouTube live events and Davido performing at the Hot 97 Summer Jams, and those moments where I've watched all my life and seeing some of the biggest superstars, I'm now having the opportunity to see a Davido perform alongside 50 Cent at the MSG Arena in New York. It's not the stamp of approval, but it's a moment where I'm thinking, I always knew that we were that great. I always
just
knew
to
that
see them on the same level, to see them appreciated on the same level.
That's all. That's why
I just don't want it to ever be them being appreciated in association to.
No.
I just want them appreciated for the great. Yeah, for the greats that they are. And that, they are the greats. They are doing their thing. They're talented.
Our artists are not only just as talented as any artist around the world, from America to Asia, but they also are making the money and living the life that some of the greatest artists around the world have lived.
Yeah,
and
they deserve it.
And they deserve it. So, it's not but it's just a great moment for us to mention. Now, speaking about Africa, we're going to, where are we going now? No, before we go to Africa, I wanted to go to East Africa, but I want to stay in Hollywood for now. Over to Hollywood, where popular celebrity and reality star Paris Hilton spoke about still suffering from PTSD from her sex tape, One Night in Paris, going viral almost 20 years ago now. The 40-year-old spoke about the trauma she still deals with after her intimate tape with her then-boyfriend went viral to the world. The actress, socialite, and billionaire heiress said she was so traumatized by the situation then that she hid away in a hotel room and her sister filtered the news she watched and read, ensuring she stayed away from all negative press due to how badly it affected her. Oh. Paris spoke about her adoration for figures such as Princess Diana, but felt her video leaking would never let people take her that seriously ever in her life. She also said she is happy for where the laws are right now with revenge porn and unauthorized intimate footage hitting the net, but thinks we are still a long way from where we should be with protecting such tapes from damaging people's lives, careers, and futures. What are your thoughts about what Paris Hilton said here? A lot of us would have forgotten about the sex tape and Paris Hilton and what it did to her. But at 40 years old, she's still reliving that trauma and still dealing with it.
It's heavy and it's a lot. Paris Hilton is one of the most inspiring businesswomen that you could ever look at. And she's the original influencer before the Kim Kardashians and reality star, right?
Yeah. Kim Kardashian was a stylist for her.
Exactly. So she is literally the blueprint. And the fact that someone took something that was so intimate, an intimate moment between them, to someone that she loved, someone that she trusted, betrayed her and put it out on the internet for whatever reason, whether it was for money, whether it was for clout, whether it was to embarrass her, whatever the reasoning was, is absolutely unforgivable and it's disgusting. And like you said, she now has to relive this. I can't even imagine the trauma, the humiliation, and thinking all of this that I've worked hard for the last 20 years, however old she was at that time.
Yeah, she was 20 years old then.
She was young. She was a baby. Like all of this that I've worked hard for, and some people, obviously, like a lot of people, we've forgotten about that because we just think about her as the businesswoman. Well, I do anyway. But to
when
think
some
like
people
that's
hear the name Paris Hilton, they instantly
that.
go to the sex tape.
So you see, so it's like all of this that I've worked hard for to be tainted by this stupid man that I trusted to violate me like this is heartbreaking. And, you know, just as I was reading the notes, I just kind of reminded me of a conversation I had with, actually several conversations I've had with like guys I've told me, you know, of people or group chats where there's videos, sex videos being sent, nudes being sent.
Yeah, man.
People secretly recording whilst they're being intimate with somebody and putting it into the group chat. And everyone is there kikiing and laughing about it. It's not funny. It's absolutely not funny. Out of everything I'm going to say today, the one thing is that I just want to hammer home is that if you see your friend, they're sending you news that were not sent to you originally but sent to them, delete that and tell them off. Because that's not acceptable. Do not be the person redistributing, sharing, whether it's not for revenge, whether it's just, oh, bro, look at the picture she sent me. Oh, bro, look what I was doing with her. Do not do that. That's a crime, number one. Number two, you will go to jail. That is a crime punishable up to 2 years in prison, I believe now. So,
and that's almost likened to revenge porn. Even though you didn't know nothing about it, the fact that you passed it on, you've committed a huge crime. But what that's a great message to the guys. But what about a great message to the young girls? Where they're in positions where now, you know, where the guys are pressuring young girls to send nude pictures, to send videos. And then those guys being young, dumb, stupid, disrespectful themselves
are going to redistribute.
So how can we protect the most important part of this equation? The young girls
that are doing
to safeguard themselves from finding themselves in a revenge porn situation or a situation like this.
Unfortunately, it's a case of just don't do it. Just don't send nude pictures of yourself. If you are going to send it, don't put your face in it or anything that can identify you. Because I can't imagine, you know, let's say you're 15 or you're 16 or even at 20 or 50. It doesn't even matter how old you are. Just the fact that that's an invasion of your privacy.
Absolutely.
That is disrespect. And again, it is...
it can affect your career prospects. It can affect things going for the rest of your life. Exactly. Paris Hilton is a billionaire's daughter. So thank God she's lucky.
Fine.
She had the financial backing to still carry out different things. Although emotionally and mentally, she's had to deal with this all her life and will continue dealing with this all her life.
Forever.
Imagine if she didn't have the financial backing and the background that she came from.
Exactly.
How more damaging such content will be.
And it really is. You've just reminded me, I was, just doing some research and I came across this story of this young woman who, I believe she was like a YouTuber, had about 50,000 subscribers along with her sister, I believe. And unfortunately, she was a victim of revenge porn. And, you know, she's, you know, one day she's minding her business, she's at home doing whatever, and she's being sent links like, hey, look at this video of you, it's being circulated. Because of that, she's then, you know, she's lost her subscribers, lost her career as a YouTuber. Obviously, she was earning money. It's then affected her mental health, her income, just her way of life. And it's just like, all because of what, you know? So I think back to your question about what can we do, it really is maybe just being extra selective of who we share intimate pictures of ourselves with, being extra careful that you
have to protect yourself.
Yeah, you have to protect yourself. And the only way is just to not do it, unfortunately. And you just have to hope and pray that whoever you've shared pictures with would have enough respect for you to not share them.
Don't go wrong.
So, and another thing I want to say as well, if you've got pictures of your ex or videos or somebody that sent them to you a long time ago, you guys are no longer together, you're no longer in contact, delete it.
Delete it.
There's no reason you should have possession of that. And there's no reason you should be redistributing it to your group chats, to your girls, to your boys for a kiki. It's not funny. Don't do that. It's a crime.
Absolutely. Well said. Now, leaving the States and coming back home to Africa, East Africa to be exact, where we follow superstar Diamond Platnumz of Tanzania to catch up with his kids with former lover Zari Hassan for the second time in 5 months. Now, this made the news because the former lovers were at loggerheads for years. Loggerheads years ago after they fell out due to Diamond publicly admitting to cheating on his then partner in 2017. After the separation, there were allegations that the Ugandan socialite Zari Hassan was refusing Diamond's access to his kids. But all that died after the videos went viral 5 months ago showing Zari taking both kids to see their dad in Tanzania for the first time in years. Now, well, this quick stop in South Africa sees Diamond and his kids enjoying quality time at home, with fans of the former couple hoping that this new cordial relationship can lead to a reunion. However, Zari poured cold water on that by saying we are focusing on being better at co-parenting and nothing else. Regardless of reigniting their love back or not, it's great to see a dad being a father to his kids again, and how important it is for us to see that image of a father showing his responsible side of spending time with his kids, and the mother who had incredible differences with him in the past, allowing this relationship to carry on as it should. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I think just back to the thing of people speculating whether they'll get back together. I just feel like
Leave them alone.
Yeah, well, no,
Leave them alone.
I think people love a good love story. You know, we just want a good love story with a happy ending and a happily ever after. That's what we want.
He's shaking his head in the background.
That's what we want. But I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is that he gets to spend time with his kids, and we put those kids at the center of the whole entire situation.
Facts.
You know, just that they get to have a good relationship with their father, that they get to spend time with him, that they get to form that relationship that they deserve, and that he also deserves as well as a father to those kids.
Absolutely. And what about, the message that sends out? Because we know of many relationships, family, friends, or whatever, where the marriage has fallen apart, the relationship has completely gone left. And one part of the relationship, sometimes mostly women, has refused access to the kids based on her personal beef with the father of the children.
No, not acceptable. Not acceptable. It's not about you. It's absolutely not about you. Like that, I think that's behavior that we definitely need to look at more, because I've definitely heard like stories of she doesn't want to give me access to my kids because we're no longer together, or I'm refusing to be with her, or I won't do every single thing on her terms. It's not fair to the kids, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that suffer. Like whenever they see that rift between mom and dad, or they're not getting to see their dad because of XYZ, like it's just absolutely not fair to them, because at the end of the day, they were just brought onto this earth by the two of you. So the two of you are responsible for giving them the best that you can.
Absolutely.
Whether it means they see their dad once a week, twice a week, or whatever it is, we just need to make sure that those kids get the relationship they deserve with their dad, period.
Speaking of dads to his kids, this past week, Nigerian music industry titan Ubi Franklin went viral due to a public argument he had with one of the mothers of his kids. Now, the businessman, who had said publicly that he fathered 4 kids from 4 women, caught heat from his daughter's mom in the USA, who claimed he contributed nothing to her upbringing, including her spending countless money on him during a trip to Dubai. The lady showed certain messages and screenshots which she claimed were evidence of her supporting him and not doing enough for their daughter. However, Ubi responded with receipts of his own, claiming every transfer of funds between them was him sending naira and asking her to use the dollar equivalent for something on his behalf. He also said the mother of his daughter was fixated on him and not happy at being turned down by him. whilst attempting to clear his name with his baby mother, Ubi fired angry shots at trolls on social media whom he felt crossed the line with their abuse, threats, and assumptions. Visibly angry in a now deleted Instagram live clip, Ubi fired back at trolls asking any of them to say whatever they wrote on the gram to his face when they see him. He also screenshotted a couple of the DMs that he received with some of these trolls and fans asking him to commit suicide, take his own life, die of cancer, all of that type of stuff. Ooh. So when you see some of the messages that some people have sent to him, his anger and outrage would probably be understandable.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't excuse the drama, the public drama that him and his baby mother have put on show over the last week, because she also recorded a long video where she detailed their dealings. What are your thoughts about what happened here?
I'm not sure who started the drama, where it started, but let's keep our dirty laundry away from social media.
Ubi is a good friend. Is a good friend of mine, an industry mate that I believe would understand that regardless of how emotional he got, that the last thing he would have done was to take it to the net. So I was surprised to really see him invest that much into clearing the perceptions on social media, but he must have felt that he needed to salvage
do that.
What are your thoughts?
I think sometimes when it's so difficult to do, it's so hard, but you have to be the bigger person and ignore it. Because now your video is now going viral, and the thing is that people don't care, they are using your drama, your life for entertainment.
Facts.
I'm going to send it to my friends, be like, oh sis, did you see XYZ is going off on social media, look at this drama, So people are just using it for gossip, for a bit of laugh. No one really cares, because at the end of the day, this is now destroying your family.
Yes.
And the thing is, when this dies down, we're going to move on to the next drama with the next person. However, he still has to deal with the repercussions of the drama that's just happened and transpired on social media. That may potentially affect their relationship, their co-parenting relationship. It's a lot. I mean, like I said,
I think he also said something that I thought was very important, where he, after all of the drama and all of the information he put out in the public, he also said, he wrote a long message asking other people to learn from his mistakes. Mistakes of, fathering 4 kids by 4 different women, albeit all 4 blessings to him now, but he also saw that there was an element of irresponsibility there.
I respect that. Just one thing I wanted to say as well was that people have the audacity, man. The fact that you can message somebody and tell them to kill yourself.
Yes.
How dare
people
you?
Doing that.
How absolutely dare you?
Yeah.
And it just reminded me, there was, I think it was literally yesterday, Nella Rose, the social media influencer, digital creator and influencer, she shared a DM where someone sent her a message and told her to lose weight, or it's not flattering, something. Wow. How dare you? I'm not a violent person, but people are not getting punched up enough, clearly. Because the fact that you would think it's okay to message another human being, you don't know them from Adam, and tell them to lose weight, tell them, oh, you're ugly, tell them, kill yourself. What if that person did it? What if that man was in such a terrible mental state in that moment?
Pushed them over the edge.
That pushed it over the edge. Now you're like, you've just added on to something that's killed somebody. Like, come on. Like, I think we just have to be kinder to each other. I think that's what it is. I don't know what it is about social media and being behind screens that
allows
gives
people to say anything.
Yeah, it gives them, make them feel like they've got the power. And the thing is that he'll probably type that message like, go kill yourself, blah, blah, and then move on. But you don't know that maybe that's like the 5th message of horrendous messages
20.
What that person just received. So let's just be kinder to one another, please.
And I think we just need to be responsible. I understand that people have said be kind on social media, which is very important. However, following that, I would say be responsible. Just because you've got the power of a keyboard or an iPhone or whatever it is, doesn't give you the right to send terrible messages to someone else, especially just for the fun of it. And people deal with such messages and social media differently. To some of us, we don't care about social media and what comments are sent or whatever. It doesn't move in one bit. To some people, it sets them off and they will not be able to physically do anything else. But even myself, that I don't care about comments, I don't read none of that stuff. There might be one time that after 10 months that I decide to read a comment that really gets under my skin. And it almost physically makes you feel sick.
Yeah.
You know, so
you now want to reply. You now want to clap back.
Now you want to engage. Now you want to respond. Now you want to, and before you know it, you catch yourself. You get into a web, situation where you're just going through that web and just replying and responding.
And next thing you know, you're on Insta Niger blog and you're now the trending topic. So it just never ends. It never ends. But more of the story is that let's just be kinder to one another.
Speaking of drama in the Nigerian music industry, UK-based Afrobeat singer Willie XO called out Mad Over You superstar Runtown on Instagram. Willie XO, whilst wishing himself a happy birthday, added the calling out of Runtown, saying he needed his money back. Let's take a listen.
I got new music coming soon, better sound, better production, vocals, ta. If you don't wish me happy birthday, now you sabi. I go Runtown, pay me my money. Pay me my money. Me just like you say you go chop my money, just they do like this. When I see you, you go shit that money because I know say you don't get time. When I go, nothing is all you know that money by force. You get me? Come for again.
Has to be said, full disclosure, both artists are good acquaintances of mine, especially Runtown, being a close young brother of mine. When I saw this video, shock and disappointment, because for someone like Willie XO to have taken the time out to make such a video, he must have felt probably disrespected and hadn't received kind of like the response he deserved based on the business dealings that they had to make a record. But again, making a video to call out another entertainer, some people would say, social media is not the place. But other people would argue differently. What are your thoughts?
I actually found it funny. Like, I know it's not funny, but I found it so funny that it was his birthday.
Because that was going to go viral. The fact that it was...
It's his birthday. Yeah. He said, happy birthday to me. Yeah. But big man, run me my piece, bro. Run me my check. Yeah, I think it's so funny, but it's also really petty. Like, I think it's also very petty, but it's the fact that he used his own birthday to be the time to call him out and do a video.
That was because, as always, we say when it comes to media relations and PR, your birthday is one of the most pivotal times to try to promote or market something, because a lot of attention comes your way on your birthday. People come to shout you out. People wish you happy birthday. So if you've got a single coming out, it's always advisable to release on your birthday, because the wave of your celebration allows the noise to go up, and that can really give you the exposure you need. So that was also used in this format where he knew that on his birthday people were going to come on his page and wish him a happy birthday. And by sending the shout outs to his brother and saying, listen, pay me back my money, that was going to get a lot more leverage than if he had done it on a random day. But
I just think there are other ways to deal with this. Come on. Like, there are other ways to deal with this and to make sure you get your money. Hence why there's contracts, there's lawyers, there's lawsuits. Do whatever you need to do. I'm sure you have each other's contacts. If you don't want to contact that person directly, go through their manager. What if have your managers speak to each other?
That's what I wanted to say. Like, what if you have found yourself in a situation where you've tried to reach out to the artists multiple times and they're not responding and stuff like that? Like, what do you do then?
That's why I said lawsuits are there for. That's what the law is there for. It's there to support you. It's not just there to reprimand you when you've done bad. It's also to support you when someone has done bad to you. So use it to your best advantage. Look back at the contracts. Talk to your legal teams or whoever you're signed to. speak to them, whether you're signed to Sony or whoever, there's always someone that you can contact to get through to that person. Absolutely. Last resort, pull up to them in person. Pull up. I'm not saying on a violence thing. I'm just saying, I can find you in person. Let's talk. Because clearly we had some sort of relationship for us to get to this level. Therefore, we can always have a cordial conversation. Let's talk. Let's figure it out. Do we need a payment plan? Is you broke, young man? If you're broke, okay, maybe I'll give you extra 2 years to pay my money back. But there's always a resolution that's better than social media.
And I think it's also an opportunity to also just pass the message out that, people should also respect contracts and respect business dealings, especially, at times like this when people are dipping into their hard-earned money, their deep pockets to kind of fund a situation. When you have received payments, when you've agreed to certain terms, it is only right that you follow through on the terms that are agreed on to carry out your own responsibilities, regardless of whether it's comfortable for you or you don't feel comfortable or happy about it. But you still need to do your part based on the fact that you had agreed terms. It's super important. It's one part of the music industry or the entertainment industry in Africa that might be lacking a lot of times. Because I'll be honest with you, I've been in those type of situations where I've made introductions and one party have agreed to do stuff and then they don't show up at the end of the day. And that not only messes the relationship between the artists up, it also messes relationships between the people that introduced them and the middle, the go-between as well. So we have to always think about other people when we're making these decisions. Once you agree to do a certain thing and agree to the terms, please just do it. And let's avoid all of this type of drama.
Be a man of your word.
Facts. Now, over to South Africa, where there seems to be some wig drama brewing. Well, media personality Mihaly Indamise.
Yes.
Oh, come on. Added that swag to it. Claimed on Twitter that her wigs worth 7,000 Rand was stolen from her luggage on the British Airways flight. The media personality took to Twitter to detail the situation, saying her bag was broken into and a variety of things stolen. However, BA claimed the wig's loss is non-refundable. And that set
Mihaly
off, slamming the airline, saying she'll be back to embarrass the airline on social media if her loss is not refunded in full. You're a woman. You don't play with your wigs.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
She wasn't too bothered about the other stuff in the bag, but the wig was a big issue.
The wig, the good quality, maybe 20, 25 inches, 26 inches down to your waist. Yeah, we don't play about wigs, man. And the thing is that, okay, so she's in South Africa. I don't know where she was flying to or returning from. Yeah. But that thing of your suitcases being broken into, items going missing is not new in that region of the world. I know when I'm flying to Zimbabwe, flying to South Africa, I'm extra careful to make sure my valuables are in my carry-on so that things like that do not occur. And I now want to spark someone in the face because now my wigs have gone missing. It's not a joke. The wig game is not a joke. And she must have been livid. I hear you, sis. But I think she was even more angry by the fact that they seemed like they were not willing to work with her.
Yes.
Versus the actual loss of property.
Yes.
It was more so the principle of the fact that a whole entire business is responding to me like this. Yeah. Oh no, run me my check, boo. Yeah. Run me my check. I need another wig.
Them saying that the wig isn't a non-refundable item, so they might class other stuff like iPads,
clothing and everything else is refundable, but wigs.
But they thought that the wig was almost like an accessory that really isn't an important thing.
Well, no, because,
what would you say?
Because the wig may have been, I think it's about 350 to 400 pounds. The wig that she was talking about, because it's about 7,000 Rand. Yeah, so that's about the equivalent. So that's a lot of money still. That's a lot of money, and I think for them to respond like that is very unprofessional. Items are items, whether it's a wig, whether it's a shoe, whether it's an iPad, it's still my stuff that were lost by your working stuff. Yeah. Therefore, run me my check. Thank you very much.
Run me my check. Thank you very much. And finally, I know we didn't really write about this, but over the last 1 week, the developments have happened in the Derek Chauvin case in the United States of America. That's the police officer that has now been found guilty of second-degree murder of George Floyd by putting his knee on George Floyd's neck and causing the death of the gentleman sadly last year. Obviously, George Floyd demonstrations went around the world where people finally stood up and continued the phrase Black Lives Matter and demanded change in the police force and policing, not only in the United States of America, in Europe, and as well in Africa. The NSARS movement. The George Floyd uprising was one of those that gave the young people in Africa the energy and the inspiration to also speak up for themselves on their behalf. People in some quarters were a little skeptical that this trial was going to come to a guilty verdict because obviously a lot of police officers in the past, white police officers I might add, who have gone free for killing innocent young black men and women in the United States of America. But this being a very high-profile case, it seemed like history was going to repeat itself. Unfortunately for Derek Chauvin, unfortunately for the United States of America and the black people and the family of George Floyd, it seems like justice will be served with this guilty verdict. What were your thoughts?
Amazing, but still not good enough. It's a step. I think they are potentially using him as an example.
Because of the high-profile case.
Because it was a high-profile case. I think if it wasn't so high-profile, potentially it could have just been one of those swept under the rug, found not guilty, and he would have walked scot-free and continued to work as a policeman and continue with his life. If you see the images when they announced the guilty verdict, you could see he was looking shocked.
Yeah, he looked stunned.
He was wearing a mask, but you could see he was like, what?
He found me
how
guilty?
Dare you? Like, how dare you put me, find me guilty? But yeah, I think it's hopefully a step in the right direction, but I'll be completely honest, I'm not holding my breath and hoping that this will start a change and a chain of these men being held accountable for killing.
The sad fact is, on the night of that verdict, a young girl was murdered, and the images came out where she allegedly had a knife in her hand, and the police officer shot and killed her on the spot. A week before this verdict was announced, a young man was stopped, searched on his way, running away from the police officer, the female police officer, white, I might add, fired at him, killing him, and claiming that she thought she was firing a taser at another black. So this seems to be the same old story every other week. One pops up in the United States of America.
Same old story. And I think it's so ridiculous that he killed this 16-year-old girl who, because apparently she had a knife. I bet you if that girl was a white man holding a machete, he would have found a way
to talk him down,
to put him on the floor, tackle him, take that machete away. But because it was a little black girl, they didn't care for her life, they didn't put value on her life, and he felt no way to kill her. So again, like, this is a never-ending story until at this point I'm like, what else can we do? What else can we do? How much more can we scream and shout and cry and beg, literally beg for them to stop killing us until they hear us? It's just, it's heartbreaking. At this point, it's as if there's just no more to give. Like, you've cried until you've cried, you've begged, we protest, we do all of these things, but it's like, what will it take for you to value our lives in the same way that you value your life? What will it take for you to see this little black girl in the same way that you value and you treasure little black girls? What will it take for you to just value us as a people,
Absolutely. Hopefully, we'll keep on following stories like this and see what happens in the future. Hopefully, some way, somehow, the more justice being done and police officers that are carrying out this atrocious crimes, being convicted, we might start to see a turn in the tide in favor of black people. But we wouldn't hold our breath on that one. And that wraps up this week's episode of Adesope Live, the official Afrobeats podcast. As always, my superstar guest, Norma of Dreams and Money Podcast. Thanks for coming through.
No, thank you for having me. My pleasure. My pleasure.
You'll be here again. Don't worry about that.
I shall.
And
I'll be returning.
People will be calling me asking for a number again. And I'll be saying, I don't have it. I ain't got it.
So I don't know that girl. Sorry. I don't know that girl.
I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much for the support as always. Please like, share, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. A big shout out to the entire team, Afro Media Studios, LM Media, Al Maurice, Shoobs.com and Yanga TV. Until next time, it's same time, same place from us to you is peace. We out. Chee. Right.